You said in your presentation that you prefer innovation to disruption. And
totally.
Disruption is a popular word, and many press releases are. Why?
Firstly, I think disruption is misused. I think we're in a sort of a stage at the minute in the industry where people are frightened that it's disrupting when it's not. We're in a period of time, probably 2 to 5 years, which is going to be about innovating current processes. We're not going to disrupt everyone's world, and it's all going to be lost jobs and lost industries. We're in a process now which is all about innovating current processes to make them more efficient, more profitable, and ultimately making the business a better business to be in. And that's why I don't particularly like the word disruption, because I think it's wrong.
And if you, during your presentation, you also suggested that people should think of Rightmove as a Proptech company when it first started out, and still now these days. But you were saying earlier in the passageway, it's that innovation perhaps has come to an end because they are this huge company, and Zoopla are the same, and there are other companies like it. So do you think that innovation in Proptech is always just about the technology, or is it about the innovation in persuading people to do things differently in the real world?
So let's focus on those bigger sort of Proptech 1.0 portals and businesses which innovated in the early stages of sort of the 2000s. They did things brilliantly. They understood culture, they understood brand, they understood technological innovation, they understood what the customer wanted, and that's why they succeeded. Rightmove is in there, Zoopla are in there, they all did brilliantly well. So they did that first phase of digital transformation fantastically, and I think now what they're struggling with is they didn't realise, and they're struggling to realise, that first stage of digital disruption is now making it more difficult for them to change now. And what they should have been doing as a management, as CEOs and the boards of directors, is actually look at that and say, well, we should have been thinking about this 5 years ago when we realised that our models were so successful. What happens next? And what they did is they let profit get in the way of disruption, and they're now finding themselves very difficult to sort of turn that ship as it moves into the next stage. And I think what they've got to look at, they've got to look at new thinking, they've got to look at new management, they've got to look at new ideas, they've got to look at new ways of doing their original business models. That's a tough thing for them to do.
In 5 years' time, or maybe 2 years' time, do you think everyone will transact properties to rent and for sale via their smartphones?
Do I think they're going to transact by their smartphones? No. Overwhelmingly no, because there's one thing that we always forget. Technology at the minute is basically a friction between sort of intention and action. That's what it's doing. What we need to make it is that it's a seamless sort of interaction between the user and essentially the agency in this case. The one thing that we can never ever replace as an estate agent, whether it's lettings or sales, is the element of trust. The one thing is we are involved at the pivotal point of the most important decision that most people take in their lives, and one thing that we're still in a situation to do is give them the advice they need, and ultimately look in their eyes and say, you're making the right decision. It's okay. Because there's that moment of doubt when they suddenly say, oh my God, this is the right one for me. What do I do? A smartphone isn't going to tell you that's the right idea, or this is how you do it next, and that is what we will never replace.